don't get tree market. Go to them. I don't want you to know them upcoming new artists. But watch out. Them stink like my money. By the way, I don't want you to know nice. I only want you to do it for.
Hello everyone, my name is Piercing and I'm joined here with Nuko. It's finally time! It's time for the Grand Finals Division 1, Akron versus Purdue. We kind of saw this one coming, and here it is. But what we don't know for sure is who's going to come out on top. The narrative's already set, but hey, I always look forward to an upset. How about you, Nuko? How are we doing today?
Yeah, I mean, this is not really a huge surprise, coming into this, to be quite honest with you. I mean, we have a pretty good matchup today. I mean, the Division 1 finals, it's a pretty good game to watch, regardless of who you are, where you come from, whatever say you. But, there's some statistics throughout this game that make this a little bit lopsided, I want to say that. I don't want to make this, feel too lopsided. I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I possibly can. Love both of these teams. They're very great players. We're going to go ahead and get a look at some statistics and whatnot here, because we got a lot for you guys today. It took a lot to get this stuff going, so we're going to kind of crank through some of this stuff so we can get into the games, because that's really what we're all here for. But starting up, we're going to look at the starting lineup here for Akron. And we've got Plexios, Hosa, Space, Silo, and Aimkey. With the highest, or rather lowest, average player rank that I've ever seen, with a 7. A 7? What? Obviously, 7-0 going into this season as well. And they haven't lost any of their playoff games, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be here. But a 7, I want to keep in mind that Space is actually the best player in that Midwest has to offer. In the entire league, Space is #1 rank in Midwest R6.
Well, it doesn't surprise me all too much. I mean, yeah, the player average rank is actually diabolical at 7. But do keep in mind that Akron punches up way past the collegiate level. I mean, we're talking easily T2 territory, no problem at all. And they've easily shown that if they wanted to take it to the pro level, out of anybody, they have easily the best chance to do it. So that's not something that's going to shake me up too much. But let's take a look at Purdue, because I know they're a heavy hitter as well. And their player average rank still very good at 95 with a record of 6-1. They've only lost one time. The players, Yellow, Nate, Kenny, Quick Cape, and Natural. Those are going to be the 5 players for Purdue. And again, heavy hitters who have punched way above and beyond. So I do expect to see some sparks flying into these 3 maps that we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, and I mean, any team that's sub 100, you have to give huge kudos to. I mean, these guys have worked their tails off getting to where they are, and 6-1, nothing to scoff at. But I wanted to say something about that 6-1. That is a very big thing. We'll get to that in just a second, but let's go ahead and look at the map bans that we have for tonight. What are we going to be playing today? And I believe we've got Lair coming out from Akron's pick, Bank from Purdue's, and Labs as our decider. Some interesting bans coming out back and forth. We're not seeing a whole lot of traditional gameplay. The Chalet got banned out 2nd round. The Clubhouse got banned out 3rd round. So we're seeing a little bit more of off picks, I want to say. Lair's a little bit of a tough map. Not necessarily that hard, in my opinion. But it can be for new players, whatever. And then Bank is just a huge map. So, a lot of opportunities. Very interesting to see how that is going to turn out, to be quite honest with you.
100%. And I just love the fact that there's no standard 3 here. That's my favorite part of all of this. But then again, when you're getting this late into Midwest R6 down to the wire, you have to pull out your best ops. This is not the time to be trying to, get some 50-50 pot shots on each other. This is the point in time where that's not an acceptable margin, having your victory or defeat being led to a coin toss. You want to be able to bring something more tactical to where you can bring it home, assuming that you've got your readings and your stratagems lined up, which is exactly what both of these teams are bringing to the table by pulling out Lair and Bank as well as Nighthaven maps. These are not maps that you can just get by on default, not in the competitive sphere, not ever. If you don't come pack in heat for those 3 maps, you don't have a plan pre-made, you will get curb stomped at this point. So I am relieved to see, of all the maps, that's what shows up.
Absolutely, yeah. Taking a look a little bit deeper into these maps that we're going to be playing today. From Akron, Purdue. Some interesting picks. Like this is why I think they're a little bit more interesting picks. Akron haven't really played Blair that much this season. Probably played a lot more off screen, if you will. Um, but not. I mean, all three of these maps, they've only played one time. Pretty high win percentages nonetheless, but not a lot of gameplay, especially when we get down to like Nighthaven in comparison to Purdue or maybe Bank as well. But they've got double, triple the amount of hours and amount of playtime in those maps respectively. And so I mean across all maps, just about double and quadruple the amount of game time. So it's going to be interesting to see how Akron can adjust to the amount of experience that Purdue has.
Well, yeah, I mean, across the board, from the scope of MWR6, it's going to be, a long fight, right? 88% versus 57%, 64% to 61%. But where the calculus swings is on the decider map where it's a 42-53. This is one of those spaces where you can kind of assume Akron is most likely going to safely be able to pull out map 1. But what's not so expected is being able to also take map 2, as that is Purdue's territory. If they can do that, then the win percentages shift suddenly into Purdue's favor, with although a slight edge of only 11% in terms of raw win percentages. The fact of the matter remains is that is still an edge, and when you're going against a 2T or T2 demon like Akron Esports, you really need any kind of edge that you can get your hands on. So that is a potential win condition for Purdue. Hold it out into overtime and maybe try to slam them out in Nighthaven. That's at least what I'm foreseeing. It's still going to be a difficult battle all the way around, but perhaps if they can just get that far, there'll be a better fighting chance.
Yeah, moving along here. Let's look at some of the seasonal roadmap for Akron as well as Purdue. Obviously, not a huge surprise coming out from Akron here. 2-0s across the board, a pretty good sweep coming out from them. Not a real big issue. I want to point out, though, that they did win against Purdue in week number 7. So that was about really Purdue's only loss going into this whole season. And so, I mean, they had some game 3s going into this, once against Kettering and then once again against CC. So, some harder fought matches coming out from those two teams, but they really only ever lost to Akron. So, that's got to be a game that this almost might be a game that you're not really too excited for, maybe in that example. Or maybe you've done a lot of homework over this playoff season. You've done some really good reconnaissance against this team, and you finally found a way to go ahead and beat them. And that might be what, in my opinion, it might be what they're going for, because looking at some more stats here, a lot of the playtime that Akron Blue has is on Chalet, 41 rounds played, and another 30 on Border. And those are the maps that were banned out. So maybe they have done that reconnaissance, maybe they haven't, but I'm sure that they're ready for this match.
The thing that makes me nervous for Purdue, at least, is the fact that this was not, early in the season where they went up against Akron. This was very recently. I mean, we're talking only a few weeks ago. So that really does limit, especially keep in mind, for those who are not college students or have not really paid attention to what month it is, I mean, we're talking finals right now. This is the time where everyone's doing their finals. Everyone's stressed out of their mind, preparing for the hardest test out of the year, right? But the problem there is that it diminishes your preparation time, right? Your education comes first. And with the fact that it's been so recent, this loss, that severely mitigates the capacity that Purdue has to prepare for this fight. So that's where I get a bit nervous, right? Again, we talk about, leveraging what little advantages you can get here. Unfortunately for Purdue, this is not one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And moving along here, I know we have a little bit more time before we get into this game. Still getting some players in, which is fine for us. We can talk a little bit about some of how the division has gone from each team so far. Keep in mind that some of these logos might be just a little bit messed up. Sorry, guys. I believe Akron R6 is Akron Gold, and Akron Gold R6 is Akron Blue. Whichever one is on the right side is the varsity, whichever one is the left side is the JV team. That's pretty much the gist I'm trying to pick up here. But nonetheless, we've got the G3-1 Grand Finals coming out today, and pretty good sweep coming out from PU Gold here, right? They've got their solid 3-win streak right there, and then they've got Akron Gold going 2-1 against MSU Green, which is a little bit interesting. But nonetheless, they've done pretty solid to get to where they are so far. And then, wait, what is going on right now? Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. I should have looked at this graphic just a little bit before I had gone ahead and shipped this, to be honest with you. But Give me one quick second here. Yeah, okay, I'm so sorry. Tomorrow we'll have the D1-3 third place match tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So a little bit of some scheduling issues. It's hard to get 30 people to schedule matches, so that's why we're having a little bit of some issues getting all this stuff in. But Akron Gold up against CC for third place tomorrow. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But what are your thoughts so far?
The classic three: Akron Varsity, Purdue, and Columbia College. I mean, as far as that goes, it's kind of, par for the course. But I will say this, having that redundancy of, your secondary team being able to hit first place or in third place, that's kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? That just goes to show how even if, one or more players from the main varsity team are out for whatever reason, you still have heavy hitters who are right behind, ready to step right in and get the job done. So I mean, that is a genuine gift that not a lot of college teams have afforded to them. Being able to have your secondary team who is so close up to par, we're talking third place in Division 1 through 3, able to back you up if, for some reason something goes wrong competitively. That's a gift to have. So I do look forward to what the result of that will be, because it'll show just how close the gap really is. Because, I mean, we've seen echoes of those three teams lining up for ages, and it seems it's going to repeat yet again, unless Akron's second team can overtake Columbia College. But with that said, we are starting off with our first map layer. Starting off with the bands, we got Cade, Grim, Bandit, and Ace. Nuka, what do you feel about these thoughts? This is a lot of anti-breach ops and hard breach utility kind of gone out the window.
Yeah, and a map like Lair, it's really tough to say what they're gonna do right off the bat. I'm thinking downstairs. That's my first thought, but I really don't know. It'll be a little bit hard to say. It looks like we're going upstairs to start, which is honestly pretty darn good if you're Purdue right here. With the Mira placements and the Azami, you're gonna have a lot of opportunities here, and getting the walls out of the way. Looks like you got a lot of the wall denial for Akron rather is gonna be pretty good for them. So it will be interesting to see. Obviously, the shield meta still pretty darn good so far. So we have the Blackbeard on and the Gridlock coming out, as well as the Sense. So maybe coming in with going through the wall out on the balcony, go for a fast plan, something along those lines. Swapping the Blackbeard for a Montaigne actually, which is another interesting pick. Definitely going to be interesting to see what they've got in store for us.
What I see as the most important out of the composition for Akron is specifically the Monty and the Grid. What this is going to do for them is on those 90-degree bends, which is honestly the most dangerous position to try to hold. I mean, you're talking long corridors. We have no cover, no concealment, nothing whatsoever really to play with. That's a really tough fighting space. So to be able to offset that with a Monty to prevent advances, as well as a Gridlock in order to make those 90 rotations more difficult, I think that's significant. But then again, it really comes down to how aggressive Purdue wants to play their roam. Because if they overstep, then that calculus of those long corridors flips onto them if they're not careful. But I do see a little bit of early aggression, looking to try to possibly take one first floor. And already some shots coming out onto Buck. That's just a tiny pinch of damage, but at least it signals to Akron that there is active contest on the initial entry, which is vital for a big map like this, because it can be really easy to lose track of where attackers are coming from.
There's the first kill of the match so far. Aimkey's going to pick up the first one, and now down to a 5v4. Akron looking pretty strong so far. Let's see if they can hold on to this lead. Still a minute 45 left to go, and a lot of control so far from the defense still with this Azami setup. But you got to keep in mind this this Buck rather, making a lot of presence on the site, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they have in store. The first smoke goes out, and rather early in my opinion, but we're going to see how it holds on to it. It looks like another trade, the first trade comes out, and a nice response coming out from Purdue here.
Yeah, that pushback was actually huge, because being at 1 minute 47 seconds with a player down is not the ideal condition that you want to be in if you are Purdue, but it does seem like they're already starting to face a little bit of pressure. There's that buffer room that I was talking about, the Monty, and now the Sense coming out to try to create that space to get a further walk in. But so far, we're seeing Smoke Natural doing a great job of holding back that front, but either way, they're able to gain just enough space to try to go for this plant here. And right now, no one's in a good spot to stop it, and it does look like we're kind of buffering there just a little bit. It looks like they did stop that defuse, so they are completely off now, which is a big pushback for Purdue. That's already a lot of utility expended. It does look like they're going to try to dive in once again, try to get that plant down. A minute remaining, so there's still plenty of time to back out as utility gets drained. A 3v4. Oh, okay. So now we're refreshed. It's a 15 seconds, and actually diffuser is down. And it looks like we're going to see a counter defuse attempted, but one goes down. Still sticking a diffuser, but space is just in the right place with a long hallway line of sight. Like I said, those corridors in order to shut that down. Apologies for the buffer. That kind of did confuse me too. If that was
not the most
for you
perfect in the
too.
world. Yeah, we're
but it does
trying.
look like either way they were able to get that diffuser down, which that was pretty much big. Creating your own slice of the pie and taking it down. That's kind of how you handle these large maps. Isolate a section and then you go for that plant, or at the very least drain the utility. With time on Akron side, they could easily afford.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? The small buffer delay, we're trying some new stuff out. We're having 2 observers. Shout out to Peeb and Genius for stepping up. 2 observers trying some new stuff. So obviously, every time you try something new, there's going to be some issues. That's just how it goes in the production world. But nonetheless, getting the second round underway, I think Purdue did a pretty good job there. But there was just so much pressure from the lower side, I think, early on, and that caused them to just lose all of that space that they had. And so getting that space back will be kind of crucial for Purdue here. They had a pretty good job holding on to the picks that were going off back and forth, eventually not holding on to it in the long run. And I think that might be in part with the shield. Akron not opting for the shield this round, so we'll see how it plays out. Looks like Purdue kind of running a similar setup to last round, so we'll see how they fare.
Yeah, the biggest problem for Purdue is trying to figure out how to break into that space when they create their own pocket to go for a plant. That's going to be their toughest challenge here for Akron, is figuring out how they're going to get that section back into control. Because you don't need the entire corridor or all of site. All you need is one section where you can back in, get that plant relatively uncontested. And unless you're willing to dive in, which is way easier said than done when you got a sense in a way, you're going to have to figure something out. But luckily for them, Sense is gone. Monty's gone. In fact, Aimkey on Deimos is already gone as well, as that's an early elimination for Purdue, which is a great advantage coming in for them. But you do got to keep in mind, you've got 2 sets of flashes, 2 smokes, so there's still some very strong execution potential. Just not that post-plant 1v1. That's not happening any longer.
Yeah, not a lot of action so far, but a little bit of tick damage coming out from the Azami. And like you mentioned, the first kill, Purdue getting that first one. But it looks like a nice kill coming out from Xylo. And another coming out, a nice little double. And that's going to bring Akron back into this game here. Very nice kills. Just got to keep pursuing this amount of pressure that they've built up now. And Purdue, I mean, how do you fare? You want to make sure that you're holding on to the space that you have, but you want to play your life. Playing some of the util you have as well will help you get that space back, but you really just have to watch out for this space that they're trying to take, and that's another kill coming out from Akron. Now 4v2, they've got a good foothold, but nice flank coming out from Purdue here. Kenny doing a fantastic job trying to keep this team alive, and Azami here on the just barely a little bit of life and space is going to take him out for the double, and now a 3v1. They know where he's at after the flank kill, and that's going to be a nice triple coming out from space. Fantastic work from him, and another round for Akron.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the hallway fight, yeah, Akron is just undefeated. Their clears are so consistent, but the thing that I'm saddened to see, because that was looking so doable, that upstairs flank from first floor, that could have done them so much good from Kenny, but they were kind of really far spread out and couldn't fully take advantage of it. That could have been the one thing that had disrupted that control. But in any case, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We're going into basement. Second time was not a go, so we're going to see if they can hold out. But this is where I get a little bit nervous, because I would say this is a strong point for Akron. This is a site where we often see teams force their way onto basement, the initial entry. It can be very bloody for the defense if they don't handle it carefully. If you got one against a team who's just torpedoing through the basement direct entry, you can get slammed surprisingly quickly. It's hard to hold off that initial entry denial. I mean, extremely difficult on your own. But it doesn't look like, based on Akron's composition, that they're going to be going for that. Maybe they'll have a two-front, first floor for vertical, basement for an initial push. I mean, you do have Silo on the Blackbeard for that additional support. But in any case, that is a front that is afforded to Akron to do some real serious work.
Alright. Sorry, guys. Audio is fixed. We're good this time. But nonetheless, like you mentioned, yeah, going downstairs might be a little bit interesting, especially with this comp that they've got running so far. And Purdue really hasn't switched it up too much. You know, still rocking the Mira, still rocking the Goyo, still rocking the Solus. They'd switch off the Valkyrie, and I think they traded that for the Mute. But it's going to be interesting to see what they've got. First kill goes in Akron's favor. That's going to be Silo again for another first blood. But a lot of trades trying to come out here, a lot of damage taken on to Akron. Goyo's put in a very precarious position, is going to get traded out for his efforts. Now a 4v3, trying to get that refrag once again. Blackbeard is just a menace, though. I mean, how do you stop a shield, you know? It's just, you have to play doubles. It's not going to work. And there's a triple for Xylo.
Oh yeah, I mean, Purdue's just getting picked apart one by one. Apart they are, and apart that they fall. Each one, I mean, back-to-back picks with no trade whatsoever, other than the Damos again, this time Space going out. I mean, we're talking tradeless picks. Akron completely crushing them out before they even had to take a foot onto basement. This is what Akron does, folks. Their attack is one of the most devastating in pretty much all of collegiate. They have that lockdown pattern, especially on their turf, their map. Yeah, it's gonna be a struggle. I can't imagine that Purdue doesn't go for a shield banning here. Either Monty or Blackbeard. That's caused their most devastating losses. And there it is. Blackbeard taken out, and Valkyrie to follow suit. I can see Valkyrie, though. Initially, I want to see your thoughts, Nuko, and I'll say why Valkyrie was a smart pick from Akron.
I mean, yeah, getting the Valkyrie out, I mean, you're going back to first floor, which I believe is going to be new for Purdue here. You know, first or second floor didn't really work. I mean, it was close the first round, not so much the second. And then they tried going downstairs, and honestly, I just didn't think they tried to play downstairs. I'm going to be completely blunt with you. They had 3 roamers. They tried to get their refrags going. It didn't work for them. Just play sight, man. Just play sight. But nonetheless, what I want to kind of see from Purdue is maybe a timeout here, to be honest with you. I think this would be a perfect time for a timeout, especially if you lose this round here, because then you're kind of getting into dangerous territory. Maybe there's an offensive sided map, maybe not. I'm not really one to say, but I think that it would be wise to start thinking about some of your better options here. You know, what can we do to become a little better here? Because Silo right now is a little bit of a threat, to be quite honest with you. I mean, this guy is kind of cooking. He's got... Give me a second. I have to look at my screen. 5 and 2, and then Space being 5 and 1. So I mean, you got some threats on the board.
Now, to kind of dig in on that point of the Valkyrie ban just a little bit further, one of the things that Akron has been able to take advantage of so deeply was information gaps. A lot of those gunfights was pretty much just from the back, completely unsuspecting. So by getting rid of an operator like that, this ensures that for the rest of the half, Akron can better operate in the dark, which is nearly benefiting them much more than it is Purdue, with the only exception being Kenny on the first floor. That is the only case where being in the dark has not done them good, but they bounce back from that quickly. So the less information that Purdue has to work with on trying to coordinate a joint roam offensive, the better. It just makes their life so much more easier when it comes to corridors. I think that's what they're trying to take advantage of, and we're going to see just that. See the peak, and there it is. Plexios ready, but unfortunately, Yellow was not quite. Kind of peaked a bit awkward there and got absolutely shot out. A great hold coming in from Akron as they get rid of that smoke. There's that execute denial that is pretty much dead now. Now we got Yellow rolling out too. Looks like the pressure's really going to be mounting up. This is where Purdue has to be able to hold under pressure, and so far, we're not seeing that. It's yet another Rooney going to be getting taken out. Another Candelo, corner swing with the drone. Perfectly coordinated utility coming in from Akron, as Zoza will be able to take another. That's natural down. Now going to be up to Quick Cape and Kenny, who are both anchoring on site. The last two to try to save this situation. Minute and 10, Akron still has plenty of time, and that is not to Purdue's benefit as they are hammering down vertical.
Yeah, not a great situation to be in if you're Purdue. It looks like Fenrir tried to hold on to site, but was just taken out by drone utility. A flawless round coming out from Akron there, and oh boy, you've got to start locking in right here. This is the finals, guys. I mean, I understand Akron, very, very strong team, but let's be able to lock in here. I honestly say call the timeout. Let's lock in. You get a timeout per half. Is that not correct? I believe so. But
yeah, you do get. I think you just get one timeout. Yeah, no, I think it's just per game. I don't think it's per half.
Okay.
But in any case, yeah, this is a defender-sided map, and already we're starting to hit the breaking point for Purdue. I would say if you want to try to go for, you know, save this map instead of just going into the next, this is the time where you would want to call it a timeout, because anything past 4, you're starting to quickly approach the path of no return, where it's not so much an advantage issue, it is a margin of error. 4 is kind of that, okay, you know, it's a solid advantage, you know, Akron has more security going into overtime. Once you hit 5, it is a triage situation. It is a, you want screw up space. If you lose a round, you're not out. You can't adapt if something goes wrong. But if this turns into a 6-0 for Akron, then yeah, Purdue will have no room to work with. And right now, Akron's just too deadly on the attack, and Purdue's having a really tough time putting up with it. They're just getting isolated, and they don't really have a good pushback against Akron's really nasty switch and baits. Like we saw, the drone and then the immediate swing. I mean, we're talking instantly. There was no time to react at all. That kind of, you know, or that high impact velocity of action, being able to react so high tempo, it's really throwing Purdue for a ride, and not a fun one.
Yeah, round beginning here. Gonna be seeing a little bit more of a different comp coming out from Purdue. Kind of switching it up with the Ella and the Warden you see this time. But really loving this Azami and Mira pick. This has kind of been something that they've really enjoyed playing with, so I'm going to be sticking with that here. Thermite Charge is going to be going out, and getting that staircase secured off is going to be crucial for them. Trying to get their way on, and the Blitz made presence. Finally trying to push on here. Oh, maybe he has a good opportunity against the Warden here. Mirror Shield gets window gets broken, but really threatening, occupying space here.
Yeah, and that's one of their only nitros down, so if Silo goes to that plant, that's it.
Oh, whoa!
Wow, that's a huge collapse onto them. Big damage coming in from Akron. They tried to go for that push and got burned for it severely. But despite that, they trucked on anyway, trying to go for the plant.
Oh my gosh.
Out. Kenny takes up a triple kill. Major damage onto Akron. They finally get that mounted, stacked up damage, and it turns into effect. Cause and effect. You play together, and you're able to reject Akron. The pressure mounted, and they held on.
Yeah, fantastic. I think he got a team kill as well. I wish we were watching that POV. I would have totally clipped it there. But I believe that he actually got a team kill when he was going ahead and just spraying down Akron that round. Great work from Kenny, single-handedly, in my opinion. He did get a team kill, it looked like, on Nate there. But fantastic round from Kenny in particular, but Purdue altogether.
I mean, the big thing there was how Purdue did not fold under pressure. That was the big thing, right? They saw the utility and didn't respect it. That was kind of the big thing, right? Because that's how Akron likes to go. They like to send these little flakes of distractions and then hammer it down. And they play rapid fire off of that by ignoring that and focusing on the fight first. Because there's a pattern to this that Purdue's catching on. Anytime they throw any piece of utility, whether it is Candelas, flashbangs, drones, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, we're talking near instantaneous follow-up, right? And predictably so. There's not a whole lot of variance when Akron goes for the kill there. That's a big signal to Purdue. When you see something flying into your space, free fire the life out of it. Focus on that fight. Don't focus on whatever pressures that could generate. It's more about the person that could be coming. And chances are, they're coming. And that read from Purdue is exactly what they need to give them that fighting chance back. They already got a 1-round buffer. Now, if they can get a second, they will still be solidly in this with rounds to possibly even take this into overtime.
Akron making their way to this site here. Trying to get their nice first blood coming out from Purdue here. Good first pick. That will kind of give them a little bit more breathing room, in my opinion, here. They've got a lot more space to breathe. It's been pretty active so far. I mean, with the Glaz here, you got the Ying and the Amaru. They're looking like a fast push kind of team here, and just go for something quick and easy. The Clash coming out here is also a very interesting pick from Purdue, but you can't blame them. You know, they've been running shields every single round. This is the first round they haven't run shields, but lots of shields coming out from Akron. I mean, it's a shield meta. You can't blame them. You know, they hate the game, not the player. Double kill coming out from Akron though. That's going to even the score. Trying to get the refrag. Quick Cape manages to tie this round up, but it gets a little bit overheated, and now it's a 3v2.
Yeah, they're taking just one too many fights at the moment. They're getting hurt for it pretty bad. I mean, the idea was great. Oh my gosh, imagine dying to the fire. That would have been rough. But a minute and 10 seconds, already sighting their control space, actively initiating defuse. Not a whole lot you can really do here. Tries to go for the long rotate to get a flank, but either way, they're going to have exact eyes on that location. You got a shotgun holding close. Does spot that little barrel there. Oh, I was expecting a little pro. Yeah, the prone shotty, I was waiting for that, but gets that little pre-shot there, which is perfect. And yeah, with that being said, we're talking a 5-in-1 situation going into the second half. That's rough. That means you only got a 1-round buffer, so this is going to be tight for Purdue all the way through. But the fact that they were able to even pick up 1 round shows that they're not completely out of it. They can mount up a fight. But either way, yeah, they got a little bit too ambitious there, especially with that shotgun around the corner. That peek from defenders was really unfortunate. But I mean, what's your read on this, Nuko? Going into the second half, Purdue has a little bit of a better feel for how Akron's swing style is and had one successful instance of countering it. Do you think they'll be able to replicate that on the attack? Or, considering this is defender-sided map, we're already seeing a map 2 incoming and we just don't know it?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because pretty similar concept coming up from Akron. So what Purdue was doing wasn't necessarily bad. Let's set that record straight. They were doing a fantastic job, but it's the execution at which they're doing it. I'm very interested to see how Akron, with the same composition, does up against Purdue, which running a little bit similar concept, maybe a little bit off, and you know, you got the Deimos, the Dokebi we've seen, the Blitz we've seen. The Grim is a little bit new, and the Ace is just a Thermite ripoff, so pretty similar as well. I'm gonna be interested to see how Purdue. Firstly, I want to see if Akron is going to play as aggressive as Purdue is playing. I mean, you're up 4 rounds. What do you have to lose? A couple rounds? You got some pillows to work with. Let's go for a couple clips or something along those lines. I mean, God forbid, you're 9-3, 7-2, 5-3, 5-2. You have a fantastic scoreline. So why not, you know, just play around a little bit? But from Purdue, you really got to lock in here. You know, you want to figure out what they're doing. Okay, they're running the same composition. How can we break our own team comp? Is pretty much what you're asking yourself if you're Purdue right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks for them because, I mean, like you said, Purdue's going to want multiple rounds to try to, you know, acclimate, because Akron can be so violent in their counteroffenses and their attacks. You want to be able to figure out a way to shut that out. And for attack, that naturally takes several rounds. It's not something you're just going to be able to do unless you're just Timothy on attack, which I really think is the case for Purdue. So, I mean, we'll see if they can pull that off. But honestly, it's going to be a tough road ahead. But there's always that reset opportunity, which Purdue, if that's their intention, was smart to hold out on. They do still have their timeout available to try to get a reset. But it does look like Purdue might be trying to go for a fast take here. You have both Kenny and Quickscape both posted outside of sight. But I think Akron is going to know that something's up. I mean, it is really quiet at the moment. I mean, when you look at everyone on Purdue, there's not a lot of noise. That's usually a big indicator, especially for a team of high caliber like Purdue. They're going to try to run something fast and out the blue, and there it is already. Some momentum, some motions in play, but it's going to be kicked back thanks to Natural getting knocked out of the picture. That's already one off the board. Take it down with 1 minute and 22 seconds. We're still talking minimal advances. Still 2 players outside. If they want to make a move, they kind of have to start doing that soon.
Yeah, I mean, you lost your first player. They kind of almost predicted this a little bit. A Nitro comes out and a lot of foot shots, and that's your blitz player down pretty much the entire attack. You waited for 1.5 minutes to get this attack going, and now a double kill coming out from Akron here. You're looking a little bit tough, 4v2, and now we're finally getting onto this map, so to speak, into the building, and there's only 50 seconds left to go. You're in a 4v2 situation. A lot of util still to work with as well.
I mean, we're talking a 3v1 now. They're able to get a nice shot onto Aimkey, but I don't think that's going to be enough for them. Oh my gosh, okay. If Akron just keeps giving free picks like that, maybe there is some hope. With 27 seconds, that's still doable time, but you got to keep in mind Zoza still has all the soil canisters. The first one being thrown out, so that is going to make any meaningful advance.
I didn't see him. Oh, okay.
Go for that dive anyway, but immediately shotgunned out of existence. Like the audacity, I mean, you're time constrained, but yeah, that was a funnel in the making, and a funnel sold the doom. And now we're going into match point.
Yeah, match point 4. Purdue here, and man, it's really tough, right? Because when you look back at some of the map statistics that we looked at earlier, Akron only played this one time, and they went 7-1. 88 win percentage, you know. They're about to stay, I mean, they're just repeating history, so to speak. I mean, we're looking at 7-1 once again, keeping that 88 win percentage very high up there. Their pick, for obvious reasons, evidently. And to clear the air, they've very clearly played this map off screen. They've done a fantastic job so far. And that kind of just goes to show that, I mean, like I said last round, they played a very similar team comp there. It was just the execution.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing there is there's not really a direct entry, so trying to go in for a full frontal push like that, especially when they're stacked on top of the stairs, that's a pretty big misread coming in from Purdue. Because that's a tough advance to get meaningful grounds on. You got to have players on second floor ready to try to break that down, displace the stairs presence. It wasn't really there. You see the vision, you see what they're trying to go for. Trying to get that free advance, but it was just too heavily fortified. I mean, you could have possibly gone for a cutoff, but I mean, you had ballistic shields, nitros. It was really stacked, and there was nothing really done to break that down. But going into this next round, this kind of last chance for Purdue to continue into this map. Yeah, I just can't see what they can really do here, because initial entry was kind of their weakest point. But despite that, they managed to take one out the rip, but that's going to be quickly exchanged for a separate down. Kenny and Space both going out. It's going to put them to 4-4. Still a lot of outside. Quickly diminished. I mean, we're already talking only 2 drones in pocket now.
Alright, Akron, getting a little bit saucy and chatty, I see. 1 minute and 30 left to go. A little bit of presence upstairs. And it looks like we kind of lost our roams. It looks like Golio a little bit off-site, but after the first kill on Akron, Space in the team be going on, holding onto the site, and that's kind of what you want to see from Akron, right? Like, just after the first kill, you know, you made your point. Get back on site, make them think that you're still on. Goyo has some other intentions, though. Gonna be running around. I think he has a pretty good opportunity here if he catches Purdue off guard. Not too sure if this is gonna work out for him or not, but he has a pretty good opportunity. Another pick coming out. There's the trade. So three flanks now. Great coordination and communication from Akron there.
I mean, they can safely afford it. Purdue's advance has been pretty slow, so being able to lock out sight is a lot harder said than done, especially considering there's no flank block utility. They can get really active here. Plexio's going for one swing, two swing. Nope. Strike three, you're out. As Quick Cape will be able to take that out. It's now looking to be a 2v2 diffuser drop. That's in the hand of Oza, which is not a good situation to be in when you got 20 seconds left on the clock. It means you're gonna be in a desperate position to grab the line of sight of hatch drop. 1-to-1, another. I mean, we're just seeing back-to-back blows, but there's that hatch watch. That's gonna be exactly what it takes for Akron to bring it out on their map for their victory on layer. We're now gonna be moving on to Bank next.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic match coming out from Akron. Holy, pardon my French, shit. That was crazy, guys. You guys did crazy work. 11 and 5 coming out from Silo there. Just wanted to look at the scoreboard before we came back to us really quick. That was insane work. That was, I mean, kudos to you guys.
Oh yeah, absolute monster work. Honestly, were we expecting anything less from Akron? Absolutely not. We knew this was going to be coming from them. They always are putting in some top-notch work. But honestly, it just goes to show how quick they are capable of reading the room, right? They just from one round of Purdue's attack, and they instantly knew that their initial entry and site setup was slow. And they took advantage of that. I mean, we're talking a two-person flank. Any other normal attacking team, you know, would punish the life out of that. And any defender team would be psychotic to do something like that. You know, we're talking mid to late action phase. Putting that many defenders up on a first floor flank, yeah, that's just begging to get dived onto site and plant. But because of the slow advance of Purdue, Akron was able to get away with it. It was a proper read based off of just one round of information. And that was all it took for them to finish off map 1. It just goes to show you their T2 potential for a reason. But don't count out Purdue. It wasn't their map, and they were still able to secure a round despite that. They are able to read what Akron has cooking up as far as their attack offense, which is their strong suit, and still be able to pull out one despite that. But with that being said, we are going to go on a quick break, and then we'll be moving on to Bank to see how Purdue does on their territory. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I don't want you to know them upcoming new artists. Don't watch out. But watch out. Them stink like my money. By the way, I don't want you no knife. I only want you the river.
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We have map number 2 of the grand finals of the upper division, Division 1 to Division 3, Akron versus Purdue. Going into map 2 on Bank, and man, oh my gosh. I realized Akron was good, and I knew that it was their map pick, but I did not expect them to just kind of dominate, to be quite frankly honest with you. I hate to say it, Purdue fans, but they kind of just rolled Purdue. To be honest, it wasn't a great match.
Yeah, they absolutely cooked, and that was always gonna be challenging for Purdue. I mean, the stats didn't look all that great in their favor. Not to mention, Akron's infamous attack, which pretty much makes that whole defender side even more dangerous for Purdue to put up with. I mean, still, granted for them, or kudos for even getting around. I mean, if the prediction was a 7-0, no one would be blamed for voting that in. So even be able to get around in on Akron on their map pick is commendable. But we do see now going into this, we're going to be on map 2, which is Bank, Purdue's pick. So they've got a much bigger fighting chance. But do remember, win stat wise, Akron still has the advantage there. So it's still going to be a struggle. But to be honest, for them to have the best fighting chance, all they got to do is just win one. That's it. They just have to bring home this one. But with that being said, let's take a quick look at the lobby kill leaders to see who's really showing up. And with that, it's going to be Quick Cape at 186 kills, Space at 173, and Nate at 203.
No, that's not right.
2-1 in favor of Purdue.
Whoops. That is not correct at all. It should be. I can take blame for that. That's so on me. Nate has 172. So one below Space, not 203. My bad. But
a little whoopsie poopsie, but I mean the point still stands either way. Having Purdue, 2 of their teammates being on the top of lobby kill leaders, that's still a significant, stat line to show. Like, both of these teams can put out and dish out some major damage. It's not, a one-way gunfighter advantage. No, not at all. In fact, Purdue is popping up more kills amongst the lobby kill leaders. And as far as stats go, let's take a quick look at that as well. As we see Hosa, Aimke, and Space all in that above 150 kill rate, with Silo just slightly behind at 149, which is interesting considering how much damage he was able to dole out on Lair. Meanwhile, for Purdue, again, actually this time everyone above 150. Yellow, Nate, Kenny, Natural, Quickscape. I mean, the floor being 160 at Kenny, and we've even seen Kenny had some notable moments on Lair as well. I mean, this is some really impressive stat lines. The most impressive of all, everyone in the entire lobby is positive. There's not a single negative player to be seen.
Yeah, the only really thing I'm noticing about this whole thing is the death differential between these two teams. I mean, you're talking 2+ KDs from just about everyone on Akron, just about, as opposed to about 1.3 KDs, 1.2 KDs coming out from Purdue, which goes to show that Akron can really hold their ground. But let's go ahead and look at some quotes really quick. First from Akron, we've got Go Zips from Plexios at Akron Akron Varsity there. And coming out from Purdue, we've got Kenny is probably going to throw. So if that wasn't I mean, obviously not. He had a fantastic 4K, 3.5K if you want to count his teammate. So pretty good showing from Kenny, if I do say so myself. But nonetheless, we're going to see map number 2 on way. And yeah, I'm super excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I think it's hilarious though that even Yellow's having a little bit of that caster's curse, right? One of the infamous, right? Whatever you say is going to happen as a caster, expect the exact opposite. Again, Banuwane, I am so sorry for what I did to you guys at the Spoy Contender Series. I said that they had it in the bag, and then they immediately lost. And then they lost the next map. So, welcome to the Caster's Curse, Yellow. Kenny is your man. But with that said, we're going to be getting started on map 2, Bank. Nico, what do you think we're going to see as far as map gains go? Any kind of mix-up or kind of the status quo, shields and hard breachers?
Yeah. Let me think here. We're gonna start downstairs. We're gonna see a Mira ban. I lied. We're gonna see an Ace and Cade ban. My eyes are closed right now. I actually am just. This is all telepathed. We're next gonna be seeing probably a Bandit, maybe a maybe an Azami, maybe a Mira, maybe a Shield. I'm not sure.
Wow, we're keeping
halfway
this
right.
one cookie cutter here, aren't we? I mean, you were right on the Mira. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe I'm just not giving enough credit to Mira. I actually did not expect her to be banned at all. I just didn't think she was gonna be banned, but no. In fact, Purdue going for Kaid and Mira pretty standard bans. After the rework, Hibana is now dangerous again, where before she was just kind of, you know, your go-to hatch person, but now she's a lot more than that. Ace and Hibana both going out, which means that leaves it down to Maverick, who, in my opinion, on Bank is basically useless, and Thermite. So yeah, I mean, as far as the hard breach situation goes, this does actually limit the flexibility, because we're talking both of the ranged hard breachers gone. Just completely out of the picture. That only leaves Thermite, who has to get uncomfortably close, and this is a map where that can be tricky. So I do like that ban from Akron, because now it makes every single hard breach significantly harder to attain. Not to mention hatches too. Maverick and Thermite are not very economical options for hatches. So now you're going to have to opt in for operators who have secondary hard breach charges, which is why we see exactly that coming in from Purdue. Both Sense and Grim from Natural and Yellow, packing 2 sets of secondary hard breach charges. That's what I was talking about. That's kind of the only way if you want to consistently get hatches though. As far as servers go, you're going to need a shield to back it up. And otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare. And that's going to be a quick cape to cover that. So we can already see the stopgaps coming in from Purdue. Those bans from Akron having a real tangible effect. And that's kind of the ripple wave it causes. So it's going to be prudent to Purdue to keep quick cape alive. Otherwise, they're going to be having a really bad time server-wise.
Making pretty good pressure so far, Purdue is. Looking like Warden gonna be holding that blue staircase. Pretty typical spot to be holding, you know, you're able to really lock him down. I'm surprised he's not, maybe he is, we can't really tell from this perspective here. I believe he might be running the shotgun, which is definitely what I would do in this situation here. And then just use your secondary SMG. So, definitely going to be interesting to see. The first Dokebi goes out. Lots of pressure being made though. Looks like Dokebi all the way over in Archives here. And we've made our way a lot, for the most part, to the first floor here. Just trying to get this area being cleared out. 3 drops hatch. We're going to be taken down though. Quick Cave gets the first pick. Akron on a little bit of their back feet here, but a lot of damage on Quick Cave, so he didn't go down without a fight.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's still massive damage though, but as long as they're alive. Wow, a double kill coming in too, and now Maxfield's looking to try to get the licks and almost gets taken out.
What?
Oh, no way. Gets down on the hatch. Just a little bit of damage, all it takes, and now that shield is gone. Even though it's a 1% advantage in favor of Purdue, I still think that presents a problem, because now you don't have any kind of buffer to deal with the blue player. And that is Silo. You don't need a deployable shield or anything like that. You've got a powerful secondary and an even more powerful shoddy to hold that down. And it does look like Purdue is orienting themselves for a blue side take. So not having that protection for the plant or for taking service control or even pushing down blue stairs is going to create some challenges. But if Akron keeps dropping numbers like this, that could change the story immediately. Suddenly, that doesn't become as big of an issue. All you got to do is dive Space, and there you go, you got sight. But Space is putting up a fight, taking down Nate, but they were able to get onto site. They're now going for diffuser. They do have the ping on exactly where it is. Tries to push up Space to contest, but gets caught out, taking just a little bit of damage, and that's going to force the walk away. Trades 1-to-1. Space on the triple kill. Now has to walk up to try to take care of any vertical threats that might be present and stopping from diffuse. 30 seconds on the clock. So has a lot of time to work with here. 2 operators. Patch drop. Now has to advance. Looking to isolate this fight with whatever intel they have. There's still active pings going around, but has to slice this up as the clock starts ticking down. Needs to get that diffuser down. Has to look for just any kind of body to take. Can't find one. Now gonna try to force the diffuser. Maybe fade it out. Looking for the swing. Penny does go for the swing, but it's gonna be a crossfire coming in with Yellow to seal the deal as Purdue will take the first round.
Yeah, very good attempt coming out from Space there. I mean, tough to fight that at any rank, at any league. Gonna be tough to fight a 2v1 situation, especially when you got great comms from these teams. You got good communication, good coordination. Speaking of coordination, Purdue doing a fantastic job just kind of picking apart Akron this round, and doing a fantastic job just holding each other, making sure that they're getting traded out, and in particular, Quick Cape getting that first kill and then getting a second, almost a third, with very, very minimal health after the first kill. So doing a good job getting his and getting some value for the team there.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, I mean, a great show of force coming in from Purdue. I mean, the big deal, right? They pivoted and went for that main stairs walk down, that hatch drop, instead of going for service. I'm telling you, if they had went for service, that would have been a death sentence. They had not contested blue. Clock was starting to run down. We're talking like close to a minute. They had to move somewhere else, and going for that bank vault, which was opened wonderfully thanks to Quick Cape with those 2 picks that he was able to nail down, especially the pressure forcing that early rotation back down into basement where they had such a strong first floor presence over by open area. That's really what set the stone for that pivot. So sure, they didn't gain the grounds in blue, but because they were able to get that vault drop down, that is what made all the difference. So I wouldn't say it's safe to assume that Purdue can get some early looks like that again. I mean, you don't have Blackbeard anymore. Quick Cape switching off for Deimos. But either way, if they don't want it and they don't need it, good for them. Kudos to them. But in any case, it's up to Purdue to try to get those initial picks if they can. And I don't think Akron's going to make it that easy second time around, moving into second floor. Or maybe they will, as Jose's already taken a significant amount of damage, almost down 1 HP, a bullet, and that's it. That's quite a rough start for a minute into the round, but it does look like Space will be able to get some revenge on the damage with a pick, as it'll be Quick Cape who will go down immediately.
Yeah, just about 1 HP coming out from Solus on Akron. Barely getting out with his life here. Minute 45 left to go here, or just under. We're starting to see some trades go out back and forth. 8 getting his first pick. Trying to find some more opportunities. A lot of window players here so far. So you've got the presence, but you don't have any of the space. So you have to keep in mind that it's going to become real crunch time when you decide to either get into these windows or either rappel down and try to find a way onto the site here. But still, a lot of opportunities coming out from Akron here. You got so many Akiba canisters here. You've got the Valkyrie cameras as well. And this flank is going to be kind of brutal. He knows exactly where you are so far. So it's going to be interesting to see what Akron can cook up in this final minute here.
Yeah, as the time runs down, Purdue's going to have to actually make some serious grounds, and that's a considerable pushback, as we'll see Kyle getting taken out with 58 seconds on the clock. They do finally have some real second floor presence coming in from Natural, but will sustain massive damage in turn just to get that cross onto the top of the stairs, but now completely cornered. But they're going to try to offset that by putting a bit of pressure onto Flexio's flashbang goes down. 2, doesn't connect. The keep up area goes up, immediately shattered. Space taken out in turn alongside Yellow. Trades going back to back. 3 and 2 with 34 seconds to go. And oh no, shocking at the worst time as the closet swing comes out. That's going to be a down onto Natural. Now Kenny, strapped for time, going to try to go for that revive to bring Natural back. Gonna attempt to secure that kill with the impact from the Hosa, but it doesn't connect. It's gonna be onto Kenny instead, dealing some damage. And now we're gonna see a 2-on-2 as they start to rapidly try to make their way onto site. But a crossfire will come in. That's gonna take Kenny down. Now, Natural, low HP, has to make that quick rotate onto top stairs, but with so little time remaining, just gonna run into a beautiful line of sight from Akron. And that's gonna give them their first.
Yeah, a fantastic hold coming out from Akron there. They had a lot of pressure, honestly. I mean, we talked about how Purdue was just on the windows. They didn't have a lot of pressure. They had a lot of pressure, didn't have a lot of space was the phrasing that I used. And it switched up quick. You know, they managed to get under that balcony. I loved the attempt of coming out from Solus there. Throwing the impact. I honestly thought that should have hit, but it just didn't, and that's super unfortunate. But that looked really good from the observer's POV.
Oh yeah. Compliments to the chef. In any case, now we move on to first floor. I don't know how to feel about first floor. On the one hand, that can be kind of the wild card site. And there's a lot of play around for how you can set that site up. That is not a cookie crumber or a cookie cutter site by any means. But then again, the thing that won Purdue their basement round was having options and being able to push from the front where they got the most damage in. Now you have a site with even more openings. I mean, we're talking office side. We could, you know, go bottom square open area. You could go printer. There's so many different access points for Purdue to play around. All they need to do is get some damage on one side and then just go for a dive and isolate. And they do have that ability as Quick Cape is back on the Blackbeard. So whatever front they choose to open up, they can lock it down if they really want to.
Yeah, Akron kind of, I don't want to say necessarily leaning on space a little bit too hard, but it's kind of what the stats are showing so far. 5 and 2, and got two players who haven't really made a huge mark. I mean, other than I will give Lexio some grace giving 2 assists, but 5 and 2 as opposed to a little bit more of an even stat line coming out from Purdue. It's almost looking like that might be the case. Space picking up his first kill and getting the Blackbeard off the board very early on in the round, but quickly traded out by Kenny. Fantastic work. That's going to be whether what I want to see if now is sorry, let me think about this before I want to speak. Will Purdue win this round due to Space being out so early because he died before all of the action took place, as opposed to maybe last round where he was alive and they ended up winning? Will be something that Purdue kind of wants to look for here. Obviously you've got the Brava, so you've got the Maestro, so you have to have the Brava. It'll be interesting to see what this means.
Right now, Akron's heavily backed into a corner. You've got 3 operators just sitting shy on the line of sight on vertical. That's kind of a big bunched up position to be in, especially as Purdue makes their advances. There's not really a meaningful offset coming in from Akron if Purdue's angle of attack comes in from archives or bottom square, which looks like that could be potentially the angle that they want to go with here, especially with all of that vertical. Akron right now is kind of backed into a spot. If they can't diversify their position soon, then they're going to be in a tough bind once the execute finally comes through, especially if Purdue comes in from 2 different angles at once. Now, if they're all funneled, well, I mean, yeah, rack them and stack them, obviously. But as smokes do come out, it looks like the pressure's finally going to start mounting in. And like I said, look, you got 2 players back of each other around the B chassis. That's what I'm saying could be a major failing point if one of these fronts collapses. But so far, Akron successfully holding it down. Smoke Babes going out. Time running out with 16 seconds. Someone's got to make a move. Who's it gonna be? And it looks like it'll be Yellow starting that engagement close to A chassis. A TK comes out. That's why you don't want to stack on top of each other. But either way, 2 goes down. And now Yellow trying to go for defuse, but it's very low HP. No! Oh my gosh! Maestro shutting down Diffuser. And another goes down. Natural. And just like that, at the snap of a finger, the execute falls apart.
Oh my gosh, God. 2 kills. Well, not 2, but just about pretty much 2 kills with the Maestro back to back. Yeah, come on, guys. You had the Brava. We had so much time. You didn't even think about starting the execute until about 30 seconds. We had what were we doing in the time between then and actually going on and executing? I mean, it just felt like we were kind of waiting for an opportunity to just fall into our lap. And you know, we're looking down all of the RAM holes in the floor rather, and just kind of hoping that someone will peek us. And that's not gonna work. You gotta figure something out, guys.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Yeah, very concerning indeed for Purdue. I mean, they had really everything they needed for a strong execute, but they were so staggered in how they pushed in kind of one at a time. And also, you can't give your low HP teammate the defuse to go and plant, especially when there's a Maestro on the board. That is the one decision that you cannot, that can't even be an option, right? You have to prepare for that. So a little bit of missing homework coming in from Purdue, and Akron, despite that team kill, was able to hold down the fort, especially by securing a funnel. That was the biggest thing that they could have done. They cut off the bottom square access point, and already they're looking nice with a little bit of a spawn peek onto Natural coming in from top square. Well done, Azami. As that will for the advantage. And that's going to cripple Purdue's execution capabilities as they pretty much got the golden ticket. Ying Natural will be going down, so no more of that raw, blinding execution coming in for them. That will not be afforded to them.
Yeah, very interesting spot for Azami. 5 and but nonetheless, a lot of weird positions coming out from Akron. We see Space really trying to find this kill, and he's going to 5v3 now. And now it's looking a little bit scary. I mean, it's all the way downstairs, guys. You got to figure something out here. Looking like we're making more pressure, but Amkey is going to be able to get a double kill there, and I can't believe he dodged the nade. Only taking about half health before being knocked down and traded away by Kenny. Nonetheless, very good. The amount of pressure that you have so far, you're really getting your worth here in this round.
Oh my gosh, and another 2, really? Man, they cannot pull off an initial entry. This is really hurting for Purdue. We're talking not even getting into the building before facing, nice shot, facing substantial pressure. I mean, at this point, with such dramatic numbers, I really don't see how Kenny can get out of this situation. You still have a whole 1v1. Actually, another one moving in on top, too. Luckily for Kenny, does have diffuser, and that could be an opportunity, except for the fact that Plexios is right there on first floor by main stairs, ready to catch her the second she drops, which she did. I mean, yeah, the pressure was mounting. Akron's feeling it. They're in a good mood. The confidence is high, and they're ready to just close this one out. But I mean, yeah, we gotta talk about the initial entry, though. That is where it went wrong before it even had a chance to go right.
Yeah, I mean, they did such a fantastic job when
Defenders,
they were
protect your
first
bombs from being defused by
downstairs.
attackers.
It just didn't go the way that I think that they should have. After the first death, you know, try to get a trade. If you get a trade, let's figure something else out. Let's rotate away. Let's entry from a different perspective. Try something. That was not where you were.
Now we see Akron going for their next second floor attempt. We saw this kind of go down to the wire, but again, you know, everyone is kind of split apart. I wonder what Purdue will try and go for differently here, because they have to change something here. At this going rate, Purdue's not looking too hot, and they just can't let that initial entry happen in the way that it did. They can't. They have to fix that. At least gain some kind of territory without, you know, dropping like flies. That just gives Akron too much confidence.
No runouts this round for Akron. Gonna be playing a little bit more of a safer approach, but definitely have a wide array of space. As well as the first, the basement, if they so choose. But that's where Kenny especially is making his first presence down, and they're gonna be kind of bursting on into kitchen here. This is gonna be interesting. Their way. Still a lot of window presence as well. 3 players rather, still outside for Purdue. 2-minute.
No, something's up. It goes to that shoddy. It takes quick cape out immediately. Knew something was up with that. Spotted the trouble and the danger. Was able to catch that out. Natural going down as well. That's a confirmed kill. 2-2. Big damage all around, but Plexio still has that clash in hand, as well as the castle to try to stall out that outside repel situation, which is pretty much completely gone at this point. No one's on the windows as of this time. With the 28 remaining, they do finally have that first floor control. You still got one in bottom square. Everywhere Purdue can possibly hope to move in, you've got just as much, if not more, pressure coming in from Akron, as Amkey will catch out that repel from Yellow. Bold, but unsupported, unfortunately, as Captain is a little preoccupied by the back. AMP gonna be able to take out another. That's gonna be Kenny, bringing it down to a 1v3 on Repel. I would try to repel in. That would be it. Nice shot on the silo, though. But 55 seconds. I mean, the options are dire. Either repel into an inevitable pre-fire from Plexios, or make a rotate that is just going to obliterate time that you don't have, thanks to Clash still being alive despite all the firefights that came out. But it looks like decision's clear. Smoke on out. And now trying to go for the repel. Does make it kind of, but gets stuck in Banana Hall. Hey, the captain did his job. Nowhere to go.
That was kind of funny from his perspective. He looked a little dumbfounded when he hit the wall there. He was like, "What?" Before Castle takes him out with the shoddy. Yeah, great round from Akron once again. It just kind of came down to the wire, and you get to a situation. It's that 1v3 situation, and you can try your best, but ultimately it's not. Like it's not a realistic expectation to meet, especially at this caliber. Now 4-1. Purdue on the back foot once again, but this game is far from over in my opinion. There's still a lot of opportunity for Purdue here. You have to start making these changes.
Attackers have located a bomb.
All reinforced.
Yeah, their biggest concern is honestly just grounds control. Any territory that they are able to get, they can't really permanently maintain it. So Akron and Purdue are kind of operating on different philosophies right now. Akron is more of a targeting player kind of mentality, which is when they spot someone, it doesn't matter where they are or what the space is or how relevant it is. They're going to go for blood until they get what they want, and they will leverage every odd needed in order to accomplish that one goal. Not to gain space, but to eliminate that threat in their perimeter. Meanwhile, Purdue is more objective-based, which is around territorial games. I mean, it's traditionally the right way to play, but when you have, basically mosquitoes who just constantly follow you around no matter where you go, and at any point could possibly take one of your teammates out, eventually you gotta shift the motive and the priority into either one, isolating them, which they haven't really been successful on, to where they can just dive in and cut them off, or two, find those mosquitoes and swat them, hunt them down. And we have not really seen either case be successfully done by Purdue. They gotta choose their lane and go with it. Right now, they cannot just let Akron flow freely like this. It's causing too much damage on their building control. And already, that's a little bit of a step in the right direction. Quick take, taking Plexios down off the rip, starting to gain that second floor control, but Kenny's gonna go down shortly after that. Thanks to Hoza. AP down. Hoza refrags. That's the pushback that Purdue severely needed, as now we are potentially looking at a 2v4 situation. When the threat comes to you, take them out right then and there. That's exactly what they did. With a minute and 30 seconds ago, they have plenty of time in their hands to turn this into a 4-2 situation. Tough, still winnable. Easily winnable. Oh, Shiloh getting that pick is gonna make that narrative a little bit more tricky, especially as that kill is no longer confirmed. Anki getting revived, now gonna put it to 3v3, 3v2, space catching quick cape. That's that delayed refrag. The pressure mounting, the vertical is back as Shiloh takes yellow, and now it is again that 1vx situation that Purdue finds himself in. Natural going to have to hunt down 3 players with full intel on their location, and you already know one from Akron is coming. And that presence hot on Natural's tail, holding the long angle. No secondary shorty to be spoken of there. That's not going to get the impact, but it does look like Natural's trying to find some kind of opening to make that move down. The half drop down, now going to put them all onto first floor, and with 30 seconds remaining, you got to find an opening, but everyone's playing tucked and close. One goes down, another head pops up, another head pops up. It's looking really tough to try to salvage this situation. Looking right on the money. Unfortunately, just can't connect the shots, and with 10 seconds left, no diffuser in hand, it's a wrap.
Yeah, Purdue had such a good strong control at the beginning of that round there. They had good kills, they were getting their good trades, finding their man, and we start taking these like one-on-one picks to try to just isolate, or we're isolating picks essentially, and that's just not a smart move in a situation where you're up numbers and you have the people in the space to work with. We should just be trying to go for trades every single chance we can. Very unfortunate for Purdue. Puts them on a 1-5 situation once again as we hit the halfway mark. And look, Cade for the first payments as Purdue hits defense. It'll be interesting to see how Purdue does on defense. This is their map. They've played a lot on this map. 23 round, 61% win percentage. So we're going to be seeing how they go ahead and talk about this as they hit their first time out. It will be interesting to see, you know? I mean, we've seen a lot of weird plays come out from Purdue so far. And I just want to see them play normal, good siege.
I cannot agree with this timeout. I'm sorry, folks. I can't agree with this. And here's why. I'll say my piece there. When you are in a situation like this, a 5-1, where you only have one round of error, you want to capitalize on the knowledge you can gain on that round loss as much as possible. By calling the timeout now, sure, it allows you to solidify your defense plan, but I'm going to be honest, when you're starting on defense for the second half, you should already have that laid out. And everyone should pretty much have a pretty good idea of what they're doing. That should have been done before the matchup even started. Or during the break. I can't agree with the idea of doing this now. I understand, trying to drag out, any momentum you build for as long as humanly possible. But the best time is when that momentum stops, when the attackers inevitably start picking up rounds, and try to cancel that out. The beginning, I can't agree with that. I would love to know what Purdue was doing with that timeout, what their mentality is. But if it's to stop momentum, that's already been halted by the sheer fact that you're switching. I can't see what the intention behind it is, or how that can lead to an effect where Purdue is able to win 5, or goodness forbid, 6 rounds in a row.
5 seconds to insertion. Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Fairly roaming comp. Not too sure, but there's the first pick. Very fast entry coming out from Akron. Everyone would close this out. We're all the way in server room here, and we're trying to make our way even further. I think picking up the first 2 kills of the round here, we can't hold on to the site. Or to the exterior positions here. There's another one kill coming up from Plexios. Now a 5v2 situation. There's still 2:30 on the clock, guys. What is going on? This is our map. We have to be able to lock this down a little bit. We're playing a whole bunch of high-speed operators. They're gushing in with Blackbeard, with the Finka, with the Gridlocks, and they're just running this down.
Yeah, this is a really dangerous situation. No natural in hand. All the pressure in the world. On top of that, natural goes down. Does manage to find the garage player, Hoser, who's kind of been delayed. But now you've got a Blackbeard in your face. Diffuser going down. And the crossfires, there's just way too many guns to even try to dissect what on earth to do there. Incredible pacing from Akron. I mean, basement does give you that opportunity to do that through tunnel. Though, generally, I frown at that very heavily. But, I mean, hey, screw it. You know what? Throw my hands up. If it's Akron, they can do whatever they want. Who am I to say what you can or can't do? And with that said, yeah, it's match point. Remember how I said you want to put the timeout when you lose so you can learn? Turns out, Caster's Curse, that didn't matter either. Because when you run it down like that at such a fast speed, there's not a lot that you can grasp from what the overall attacking philosophy for Bank Akron's gonna have. You're not gonna be able to grasp anything meaningful from a rundown like that, which is, I can't believe I'm saying this, is actually such a smart move from Akron. Because by running it down like that, if they win, Purdue gains no valuable information to adapt from. Rushes are one of the, as far as defense adaptation goes, one of the most useless rounds if you lose it. You're not going to learn anything for that. You're not going to gain anything meaningful, other than the fact that you're vulnerable to rushes. That's it. That's not going to be enough to be able to help you to win every single round needed next in a row. It's not gonna help you. So, yeah, this is devastating. Even with that timeout, if it were now, it wouldn't make a difference. Purdue, I salute you. I wish you the best of luck. This is gonna be tough.
Match point once again for Purdue here, trying to make their way, crawl back from this series here, not being swept in the grand finals. A little bit of damage so far taken, but nothing too scary. Not as fast of a push, I will admit. We're not in a 5v2 situation on the site already. It's looking a little bit slower, but like you mentioned, yeah, there's not a lot to gain from rushes. They're very ad hoc. You need to have a lot of versatility and a lot of adaptability to be able to understand those. But in this situation, they're able to kind of play the game a little bit more here. Now we're back to normal siege, and there's the burst trade coming out. Looks like before favoring for Purdue though, as Nate picks up Silo, and now trying to make this space, or overheating once again. We're playing defense, guys. Hold your ground.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit of an overextension, but in any case, Purdue still has the advantage, even blow for blow. Right now, it's just 1-1. Purdue matching Akron, still maintaining that net advantage, but that shut that down, especially now you don't have that Maestro for post plant. But then again, Akron is already rapidly approaching on your doorstep, as well as Kenny and Quick both being off-site right now. If Akron really wanted to, they could get themselves in a nice little pocket and try to go for plant. Now the Space has Diffuser in hand, but that swing from Hosa is going to complicate the story quite a bit, especially if Space is still outside, not ready and in place to initiate any sort of meaningful execute. Now, with a minute remaining, there's still time available, but all territorial gains have been neutralized. Space is now effectively starting from scratch, but boldly enough, despite that, still looking for vertical. They've got intel, but Quick Cape slaps it down with a Nitro in turn. Hears it and able to catch on that there's eyes on him and shuts it down immediately. Purdue still has a fighting chance.
Yeah, great round from Purdue there. Still, you gotta play defense, guys. Let's stick to the basics. There's no reason that we should be fighting on second floor, trying to make this go from a 5v3 to a 5v2. Let's just play defense. Let's play our trades out. If we get our pick, beautiful. Let's just get out of there. You know, they know where we are now. There's no point. There's gonna be 2 on us at the very least moving forward after the first kill. Let's just play safe games.
I do wonder how Akron will respond to that, because that round actually did have some meaningful information. It does show that Akron can sometimes be a bit split up, which gives Purdue a cue to isolate and try to hunt. Because the rotation work from Akron was a bit sloppy there. It was kind of slow. Especially when you have site presence like that, your first intention should be to beeline it or start going for vertical immediately. And Akron was kind of slow to do that with space. That did create a window of opportunity for Purdue to retaliate. So it does add a little bit to the puzzle. Again, the pressure's still on as they have to play this correctly every time, and we're still on a bit of a high-risk site, as there is a direct walk-in after they try to run it down again, which we can see the intent there. I mean, we're talking Gridlock, Glass, Blackbeard. This is a perfect recipe for try to hop in, Printer, and run it down. A lot of on-site droning. The intention's clear. Akron wants to push this if they can.
A lot of second floor mobility so far. Here, it looks like Akron pushing on largely with their entire team here. 4v4 situation after the trades go out. Bomb is going to go down as well here, and now we're kind of in a little bit of a hectic situation. Oh, nice shot coming out from space here. Bomb still hasn't gone down. They're trying to, but they can't quite get it, and Quick Cape gets the kill. Now a 3v3, 3v2, 2v3 situation after Nate gets a kill, and a lot of damage on Amki as well, as he gets notified, or spotted rather, and now the dust has settled. We have to recoup. They have the bomb now. This is a great situation for Purdue to be in.
Oh yeah, if you're Purdue right now, you're jumping up and down out of your seat. This is a great situation to be in, especially now with renewed second floor presence coming in from defense. It does get taken out Thanks to Hosa taking down Nate, but either way, the point still stands. Diffuser is in Defender's hands, and it is a 2v2. A minute and 20, still plenty of time. You still have one anchored on side, one roaming, and even better, Anki down. Blaz, the thorn on the side with the smoke. Had to watch the smoke or the cross, but unfortunately just could not stop Quick Cape from shutting down that diffuser. That one cross sealed the deal for everything to fall apart, but regardless, looks like they are intending to drop. And
that worked?
Hosa's done that. I don't think they know. Oh, never mind. Quick Cape, fast on the trail.
He has ears
Sees
for
the
sure.
pattern. Oh yeah, absolutely suspects it. I mean, that's just that gamer intuition, man. That's just having a better gaming carpet, honestly. Being able to know that if they missed a drop, that person's hot on your tail, you know? Maybe they didn't drop, but either way, it's a risk that you had to acknowledge, and the timing on it was just perfect. I mean, that timeline was just very well read, giving Purdue that read.
Halfway mark for OT, but we're just about to take, but a lot of ground still for Purdue to take. We've got to keep this momentum going.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Even though
the
that
bomb.
round went fairly well for Purdue, there's still some kinks you have to work out. We have the bomb in sight with us, and it's a 3v3 situation, making it a 3v2 situation. What is the purpose of us playing upstairs and trying to continue fighting, or going up open and going up the staircase and trying to fight some more? Let's just keep it simple, guys. There's no reason to... Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm noticing a pattern that I'm the issue here. And this seems to keep happening. It seems to happen a lot. I think that people should just calm down and let's just play the game normally. There's no way they can kill us if we're just watching the bomb.
5 seconds to insertion. Attacker's objective is to defuse a
Oh
bomb.
yeah, I mean, look at how much utility Purdue has stacked against Akron on a rush. I mean, we're talking Tuberau, Tachanka, Rooney, Smoke. There's so much utility. They don't want to get rushed again. Which, fortunately for them, that's not gonna happen. Unfortunately for them, they've got death by a million vertical cuts to look out for, or look forward to, depending on the angle, as it'll be Hosa on the fuse who will be able to drop that down, and that's a good amount of utilities to shut down. Well, it would be if it wasn't for the fact that almost everything is active except for, you know, Rooney's utility here. So really, every number count that Purdue is able to keep up is just an increasing headache on execute that Akron's gonna put up with here. But again, they still have a mix of headhunting as well as utility potential. Ugh, that is not the angle I would hold. As we will see 2 go down and turn natural, as well as the Blue Stairs player. And now they got camps. Hosa does go down, so no more Reign of Terror from above, fortunately. But either way, that's a lot of active utility potential dead on the spot. That's going to cause some problems in denying the plan, as all you've got now is Tachanka and, well, I was gonna say Smoke, but Quick Cape goes down in turn 2. Could potentially be in a survivable position.
1.5 left to go. Still a lot of opportunity for both of them. It's Twitch causing some issues, but Space actually making even more of a presence here as he gets himself into sight and gets the first pick. The bomb is gonna go down. Plexios baiting the diffuser. Nope, he's gonna go ahead and stick this diffuser down as we get onto site here, and Yellow falls as well. That leaves just Kenny on site, jumping down the hatch, but it's not gonna be enough. Plexios takes him down, and that's gonna be the championship map. Akron taking it in a 2-0 sweep fashion. Fantastic work from Akron. I mean, these guys, we've said it once, we'll say it again. These guys are just that good. They're great. Taking a look at the scoreline here, 16-6 coming out from your statistically best player in Midwest R6, or what Midwest R6 has to offer, so to speak.
Man, that's some dirty numbers for only, what is that, 10 rounds? Yeah, I mean, that is, what is that? 1.8 kills per round? That's ridiculous. That is wild to see. I mean, you got to feel for Purdue though. They really were putting up a good fight there. But I mean, again, they just didn't have the flexibility they needed on defense. Maybe if they had that timeout still, maybe if, I mean, there's just so many maybes that could have subtly but majorly turned things around. But Purdue was just too late to make those adjustments. We saw the same thing on Layer 2. They started to get a pickup after a devastating first half. They were able to pick up a round, but it was too little, too late. And that kind of was the summary for Purdue's downfall. I mean, don't get me wrong, second place, that's still one heck of standing to be proud of. But hey, as we all know, Akron's just better, and they proved it tonight with yet another D1 through D3 victory, putting them at the top. I mean, they're just so dangerous, and they continue to show us why. I mean, if any team is the team to take notes on, it's always going to be Akron. They kind of are the gold standard for flyby executes, and they are very well coordinated on it. I mean, this is kind of their bread and butter. I mean, Akron's kind of notorious for their R6 scene. I mean, how many other collegiate teams do you see in the gaming sphere in general that is competing and flourishing on the T2 level? You don't see it that often, but Akron, they very much punch up above their collegiate status. But with that being said, we do have an interview coming up right after a quick break, so stay tuned for that, and we'll get to hear from the champions themselves. We'll be right back. All right, and we are back, folks, and we are joined here with Plexios from Akron. I mean, we kind of saw the writing on the wall there, but congratulations once again for making it as the top dog in Division 1 through Division 3.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so kind of just to get this going, what were your thoughts going into this, this series? Was there any doubt at all that things could potentially flip? I mean, Bank obviously was the closest. It was their map at 7-3, but you guys still beat it out pretty handedly. Was this kind of expected, or was there an element of uncertainty that you guys were kind of scoping out for to possibly unveil itself?
I'll be honest. I think with Purdue, it's a pretty comfortable matchup. We've played them quite a bit over the past 2 years, and our play style fits really well into them. It's kind of at least for us, pretty easy to read, especially what they're trying to do on attack. Especially on those layer attacks, like I felt like there was only a few, but I felt like we could have like picked apart what they were going to do just off of their initial setup. I think bank being close was kind of just we were trying to do some little weird extracurricular type stuff, and I think it was just not working out too well. But no, I'd say Purdue is one of our more comfortable matchups. I mean, they're a great team, but I think we have a very good read on how they play and how to play into them.
Yeah, that perfectly makes sense. Now, on Layer, one of the things that I noticed was you didn't ban Valkyrie initially for your first two bans, but then for the halftime ban, that's where you opted in for the Valkyrie ban. What was the decision making to go for that? My suspicion was you guys were actually navigating that fog of war where the intel gaps were pretty well, and we're trying to punish that even further by getting rid of Valkyrie. Was that kind of the decision making for getting rid of Valkyrie, or was it something different?
Yeah, no, it's definitely part of it. As far as not being part of the first two bans, we always on that map do the Cade layer. I mean, I think most good teams do because it just is a completely different map if those operators are up, especially with the mute change. Now any can open any single wall. There's no need for these mini games of I'm going below, I'm doing all this. But yeah, like you said, they were running the Valk every round. And even though we were finding most of the cams and punishing the players like playing off of them, it's still just like that little. It was clear that that was their goal, right? Let's get these cams, let's use this information. And that was really like the bright spot we saw in their 3 rounds. So we decided to just take that out. And actually, some funny old Akron lore. Last semester with the old ban system, we only banned Valkyrie, so kind of taking us back a little bit. But I mean, she just gives the defense so much confidence to make plays, move around, and I think we just wanted to take that away from them.
Well, that is evidenced by Kenny's walk up that we saw on first floor. Even though you guys did a very good job shutting that down, that was potentially a very dangerous situation where they could have picked up a round if that walk up was uncontrolled. But you guys were able to get that down. Nico?
Yeah, I want to start off by just saying, does it feel as good winning the championships after 2-0ing every team in your league in the division and then going into playoffs as well?
I mean, honestly, yes, because I went to a school for a couple years where we did not win very much. I never get tired of winning, and I also think, like for example, we just actually got second place in CR6, which was obviously super disappointing. You know, we expect a lot better than that. So we don't really want to take any of these leagues, like regardless of who we're playing, or 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. We did the same thing in CR6, and then it bit us in the butt in the grand final. So we've been taking every single game, same opponents, treat them the same, don't really give them too much respect, but also, they're our opponents. And I think, I mean, we love winning. There's nothing better. So I wouldn't say I get tired of it, but it definitely is the expectation. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's good. I love a team that's humble but also knows how to hold their ground and be the top dogs. Absolutely. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about was the map ban. So do you guys have a plan going into that? I mean, you guys picked. I mean, obviously we know that you guys have played Lair off screen, but there's only 8 rounds on record or on paper for Lair, and then 11 for Bank, which was their map, and then 12 for Night Haven. So there just wasn't a lot of rounds or a lot of statistical measures in your guys' favor for the map picks, especially with Chalet and Border kind of being your most maps played. Um, and those were kind of being banned out. So I guess what's the thought process behind the bans?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. We're very comfortable with Purdue, and that includes their map bans. I'm a huge map ban nerd guy, and I can always tell you like exactly what those type of teams are going for. They love skyscrapers, so that was our first ban. And the good thing with our map pool is we can play all 9 maps, so it kind of just plays into what we don't want to play a certain team on. So I banned away what they like, which is the club and the sky. And I think they did. You said Chalet and Border. And Layer's a map where we don't always go out of our way to pick it, but it's been one of our best maps through all of our collegiate leagues, through Element. We only played it once in Element, and it was a 7-1 in our first game. So it's been a super comfortable map for us. But yeah, I think the map pool today was specifically like a Purdue thing. Like we wouldn't usually ban maps in that way. But we're very comfortable with what they're going to try to go for. And I also expected the Chalet ban. I mean, they know that that's our bread and butter. So yeah, I was pretty confident they do that too.
Yeah, they had 63 rounds played throughout the season on Clubhouse. They played it 6 times, which is definitely their most played map. So good
Yeah.
reconnaissance on your part for sure. Go ahead, Piercing.
You had to ban my baby skyscraper first every single time. You know what? I get it. I don't hold it against you guys, but it does break my heart to see just a little bit. I want to get that one last goodbye, but it doesn't look like that's happening. But with that being said, before we get into shoutouts, I did have one final question for you. So, for those who are the big followers of Akron, because we know your followers will catch your attention wherever they can. So, outside of collegiate, what is the next big step for Akron? What are you guys looking forward to next?
I mean, I think the big thing on everyone's mind is the Challenger Series in early spring. I'm not sure if it's May or April, but it was around that time last year, where the top two teams actually get to play the bottom two PL teams for a spot in the league through relegations. And if we're being honest, like I think top six in Element was amazing for us. I mean, as a collegiate team, but just in general. But we
Yeah.
truly felt like we could have won all of the games that we lost. Like that Space Tubes game, I'm not sure if either of you guys saw any of it, but it was probably one of the most winnable games ever, and we just could not close it out map after map. We got to 6 rounds first on every single map, and we just weren't able to close them out. So that really shows like we know we can get that top four, even top two comparison. And we've I mean, it's scrims, of course, but in scrims, and even this weekend, Aimkey and Silo played on SI quals and took down Standby, which would be one of the teams you would play in those relegations. So we are confident that if we can, keep improving, keep building the chemistry, and make that top two, that we could have a shot. Now, obviously, it's a long shot. It's not the expectation, but it would be an awesome goal to achieve.
Well, if any team is the team to do it, it's you guys. So you've got my endorsement.
Thank
But
you.
with that being said, got any shout outs or any special notes before we move on to our next matchup?
Just shout out my parents, my team, the Akron people for just being amazing and supporting us. And then my girlfriend Annika, she's the goat.
Awesome, awesome. Well, with that said, thank you, Plexios, for taking the time to interview with us, and congratulations on the win once again. But with that being said, my time personally is up, but we are not quite done yet, as we do still have a whole other matchup coming in. So stay tuned for that. My name is Piercing. I was joined with Nuko, and with that, we'll be right back, and we'll see you in the next one.